going to talk about Moodle and Mahara, more about Mahara than about Moodle, because all of you know what Moodle can do. And to boil it down to one sentence, Moodle is for a group which comes together in a Moodle course to learn, and Mahara is for the single user to show off what he or she has done to present his learning, to present his work and all that stuff, but it's very individual, and this user is integrated in this group. So here the learning takes place in a group, and here the learning takes place alone, basically. And these two systems together, they are called Mahoodle, and I think it's quite well known by now. So in Moodle you have a group of learners. The learners, they can cooperate, they can communicate. They are in a protected room, which is very important for the younger students. And we have all these learning activities where they can work together very creatively, for example, in a forum or in a glossary or in the database. We have the communication tools that can be used in various ways. I'm not going to talk about that much because so many presenters have done wonderful things showing us what can be done in a creative way that helps learning in Moodle. And we have the learning control. This is Moodle, and this is the classroom, but it's just everything what can be done in the normal classroom can also be done in Moodle, and many of us have already said in their presentations that Moodle alone does not create a new way of learning. If Moodle is used in the same way as classroom teaching in the old way is used, then there is no real progress. So we have to change and to think about learning and make learning change. In Moodle we have the information, we can put in stuff, teacher can put in stuff, we have the communication thing, the forums and the messages, the cooperation in lessons, in feedback, in glossaries and databases and so many other things. And the collaboration I would place in a wiki where a group of people create something together. It's a bit weird because this should appear one after the other, but by creating the PDF, it has all become visible at once. But you can imagine what I mean, I think. So this is a picture I like, especially for Moodle. A lot of activity, a lot of people working together, not in one place, at different places in Moodle. And producing something. And sometimes it's sweet as honey. So it's social learning. Most of you are on Facebook, I suppose. I'm not going to ask these questions. And most of you will probably be not only lurking, but sharing things. I know this from Carrie, I know it from Jim. And we are sharing various things, our private stuff, but we are also sharing our stuff in education with other educators. I think most of our students are also in Facebook. We can count on one hand how many students are not in Facebook. And they are doing basically the same things that we do in Facebook. They share something. Might be different what they share to what we share, but anyway, they share whatsoever. So my theory is if they are familiar with this sharing in a social network, we should profit from this and we should use that for their learning. They should also share their learning. So finally, that's what we are doing right now in this iMoot. By the way, you may interrupt me at any point if you have a question. It's no problem. You can do this just by using the hand symbol, because I can see the chat, I can see the user, so you can also put something in the chat. I can read the chat. So at any time, I'm really flexible, and you can interrupt me at any point, please. Don't hesitate. There are just few of us, so it's very relaxed today, I suppose. Helen Barrett, I don't need to introduce her. She's the grandma of ePortfolios. And these statements are also taken from a TED talk, which I think she did in 2010 or 11. You will find that easily. And what I found interesting is she stressed the fact or she stressed the importance of having the social factor in learning. So what she wants to have is what they're doing in Facebook and all the other social networks. She wants to have this in ePortfolio too. And Mahara does offer that. I will show you later. So to make this more colorful, I put this on slides with pictures. Okay. I think we can say from the iMoot we are all taking part in that we feel very good that we have an environment where we have this possibility of participating, where we feel welcomed, where we have a nice surrounding, where people post pictures of food and animals and everything, and we really feel good in this environment. And I think this is something we should create for students as well, to make them feel good in learning. The second statement, and this has come up almost in every presentation I've seen so far in this iMoot, the user's autonomy. This is very difficult for teachers because teachers tend to control. We are all control freaks, and if you want to give autonomy to learners, then you have to let loose a little bit. The third statement was, and this has been nicely demonstrated in the opening keynote and in many other sessions too, that the systems should be open as possible, so that people are not locked in a system, but that they are open to other systems where they can connect, where they can communicate. Oops. So, and then, oops, that was too fast. Just go back. Okay, this is a typical example of a young child, and what is typical is that you can see that she really enjoys discovering something. A friend of mine recently did pictures of a village in France where they did cooking lessons for 5-6-year-old children, and they were making crepe and things like that. And she posted wonderful pictures, and you should have seen on the faces of these kids, this was learning in pure sense. And they really wanted to do this. So the trouble with this self-directed learning is that once the students or once the kids come to the higher schools, let's say grammar schools and vocational schools, they unlearn that. Because the teacher tells the teacher, "Hi, Marielle, all women today. Oh, great! And thank you for creating the Mahoodle badge. There's a Mahoodle badge to win in the course, and Marielle has created that for me, and I managed to incorporate that." What was yes? And then they kind of unlearn to be creative because they are told by the teacher what they have to learn, when they have to learn, and how they have to learn. And this is the last thing that Helen stated in her TED talk, that a portfolio should be a student's own story. Even if the task a teacher sets for a class is more or less the same, the outcome can be so different if you just let them to create a different outcome. So for example, if you give them the choice to create a video or to create a podcast or to make an interview or whatsoever, students, that is my experience, they come up with all kind of ideas what they could do if you just play a normal video to them and then ask them, okay, what can we do about this? So really we have to trigger their creativity and let them really show their own story, even with tasks that they get at school that are different or that are more or less the same. Oh, more people are coming in. Welcome, everybody. We started very, very early, perhaps. I should have waited. I should have given you the academic 15 minutes, but we thought no one would come in. So thank you for coming. Welcome. If you want to talk, just raise your hand and, well, I will unmute. Yeah, okay. Okay. I have muted everyone, but if you want to talk, just give me a sign and I will unmute you. And you can interrupt me at any time of my presentation. So a portfolio is a student's own story. Very important to remember. And this is a colorful picture because Mahara is colorful or can be made colorful by the user. It is a very individual portfolio. It is, even if you have the same task, it looks different with every single student. It's personalized because they have a lot of freedom to enter or put in whatever they want. And what is most important, I don't need to tell you that if you have a Moodle course, who is the one who controls the Moodle course? It's still master teacher, right? Normally, unless you give a role of tutor also to a student, which is possible, but most Moodle courses are teacher or tutor driven. There is no way. So in Mahara, it is exactly the opposite. Mahara belongs to a single user. And this single user can decide whether he wants to show his outcome to the teacher, to the group, to the school, and to whatever group he wants to. So it's up to the learner to decide that. And he can decide whether to leave it completely private, the outcome, or to make it completely public. We will have a look at examples later. The nice thing in Mahara is, and that was Helen Barrett's concern, we have a social network, so they can have this friending thing, they have the private messages, they have a wall, they have many elements which they also have in Facebook. And the possibility they have in Facebook they can only show, well, pictures, links and so on. In Mahara they can show their whole page. They can show much more than just a link or a picture or whatsoever. And they can use this sharing option even to get to apply for a job, for example. We will also have a look at examples. Any questions so far? Everything fine for you? Can you all hear me well? No reactions? So I suppose yes. Okay, all is okay. Thank you. So this is the stage for Mahara. You are the user, and you have the stage for you, and you decide what is what you want to show to others sitting in the audience. So, okay. So you remember the picture, the slide I had on Moodle. Now this is the parallel slide on Mahara. We have the collection part, then we have the reflection part of Mahara. If you have read a little bit about ePortfolio, then you must have understood that reflection is a major or the most important part of ePortfolio in theory, because an ePortfolio should be a place for a student to reflect about learning, but it's more than that. And as for my experience, the reflection part in Mahara is the most difficult part. But well, that has got to do with how learning takes place in a normal setting. We will come back to that later. So even teachers have to learn to do that. And they need, and students, they really need scaffolding there. They need the help of a teacher to make them reflect on their learning. Then the next step would be to present what they have created. Here I have a picture of someone who presents something. And the last step would be to publish and to decide how you want to publish that. So that's basically everything you can put into Mahara. You can store all kind of stuff that is digital. So basically you can do that. You can put in the same thing you are used to put into a Moodle course. But in Mahara, it's not the teacher who puts in the stuff and the ingredients, it's the student alone who puts in the stuff. Everything that is digital can be used. So basically the same as in Moodle. And this is also the good thing, because people who are familiar with Moodle, they won't have problems of working with Mahara then. By the way, the developers, they all know each other. It's the same family, and you have the single sign-on. So it's really, they're really two matching systems, and the editor is the same. So you will find many well-known features of Moodle in Mahara too. Mahara is a place where you can manage your knowledge. It's the first or the most spread use is now made in Germany in universities, in teacher training, where they have to do practical trainings and they have to manage their knowledge. So the next thing is you can collect work results. So this is something which I think is very down to earth, very practical, and that's something I started with because I was working in a vocational school where they produce things and where they, for example, went to practical training and they had some products they could show. And this is something which can be easily done because you have a real opportunity to work with Mahara. By the way, this is very important. Do not start with Mahara just for the sake of doing something new. Start with Mahara if you feel the need of Mahara for a place you can give to students where they can display their own findings, their learning, their work results, and all that. And then it works very well. Lecture work. And it's as we saw before with the theater slide, it's a stage where you can show, where people can show their competencies. Whatever competencies that may be very private, from being able to do first aid help, from working for a community, from playing music in a band, to things that you've done at school. So anything is possible, and you can create as many pages as you want in Mahara for all specific purposes. So I already talked about this reflection process, and that's where the teacher has really a very important role to help the students in the reflection process and to guide the students with questions. So Mahara is built for lifelong learning. If you take a Moodle course is a temporary course, like a temporary classroom course. Right, so people come together for a specific time to work together in this Moodle course for a specific, in a specific way. But once they leave the institution, or once they change the class, then they are no more part of this community or of this course. And Mahara is a place where they keep their own stuff. So it would be very awkward for them if Mahara would be bound to their institutions, and once they leave the institution, they will lose their stuff in Mahara. Students will not start creating portfolios in Mahara if they cannot be sure that they can take along their work in Mahara. So the investment needs to be safe for the students. So I'm really pleading that not every single school sets up its own Mahara system, but that we have a Mahara system for many institutions, and they come together on the same platform, and they can be grouped in institutions. And a wonderful example for that is New Zealand, where they have My School, and this Mahara platform is open for all schools. So they are kept in single institutions, and they have administrators for a single institution. And if one student leaves one school and goes to a different school, the admin has just to push him from one institution to another institution. So lifelong learning is supported by Mahara, but should not be killed by not giving access anymore once the student has left the institution. This is a really fundamental problem, which you should keep in mind when you try to start working with Mahara. So professional development is also a great thing that can be done in Mahara. I can hint you to Don Present. Some of you might know him, Manitoba. You can Google for him. And I also have a link to his presentation, to his Mahara portfolio sites in my presentation later and in the course room, it's worth watching that what Don has been doing for work placement in Manitoba. They have many immigrants and they need to be integrated into business again, into work, and he's doing fantastic work. So Don Crescent, Manitoba. Keep this guy in mind. Some of you might know him. Professional development, great place for, yeah. Then applying for jobs. As you can put in everything you have achieved into Mahara, once you want to apply for a job, it's easy with all the material you've collected before to set up an application page and send it to a specific employer. Applying for a job, one of the main purposes. Learning should be personal and learning should be colorful, and it should not be black and white, but there are so many ways how learning can take place, and I think we should really encourage that and encourage creativity. And Mahara gives the place for students to be creative and be colorful. So, one very important point for students is that that's the same for Moodle, that we can learn anywhere at any time. This refers as well to Moodle as to Mahara, and there's no need to explain that here. I just like the picture so much with this guy sitting there in a colorful place. But that's my very big but, and this is a very beastie slide. Well, the trouble is that if we want to change something in learning, we also have to change teaching, and that's what I was saying right at the beginning. Teachers have to change, the first thing, we have to change the mindsets of teachers, of all of us, that we have to let loose and that we have to give more autonomy and more freedom to students in their learning. Okay, this is another one of my, well, I keep this picture, I keep this slide in all my presentations because that's a symbol for me. That's the opposite of closeness. I ask my participants always, well, what can you see in this picture? And they would say, oh, they are nice, colorful containers, and they're all neatly arranged and very orderly. And then I say, so what? What else can you see? Well, what can you see in this picture as Moodlers? Can you just give me some lines in the chat? What does this picture represent for you? Kind of blocks, yeah, containers, they're colorful. What else? What else can you see there? Wondering where all the other ones are. Did you run away? Are you just remained in the room but instead having a coffee? Or Marielle, I have the impression we're the only ones. Carrie, are you still there? Oh, okay, Carrie. Okay, well, these are containers. Charlotte is there too. Yeah, you see color. You see, it's nice because you see the positive things. But if you look at the negative things, what can't you do with these containers? Yeah, they are individual, they have individual colors, they have individual names perhaps. But what can you not do? Just imagine, yeah, exactly, just imagine you are in such a container. It's airtight, as one participant said the other day, it's airtight, there are no windows to the world, and it's a closed shop. That's not how learning should take place. I want learning to be like that. We have open blocks, we can move around these blocks, we have openings here, exactly, that's much nicer, and you can rebuild, you can pull down, you can rebuild, you can open, and whatever you want to do with this. So this is really how learning should take place, and we are open to the world. I want open spaces. Well, I used to always have my classroom door open, and my colleagues always said that I was crazy. Everyone could get in, and my students were used to that. And effectively, they came in even when they were not my students. When they had another class, they came in just to say hello or so. That's how learning should take place. The selection here is entirely by the student. In Moodle, it's you, it's the tutor who decides about the ingredients, even if it's awesome as what Julian showed us yesterday with that fantastic code with the hidden activities, and that was fantastic, but it's still the teacher who decides how a Moodle course should be. So here the selection is done by the students. This is again the summary of what Moodle can do and what Mahara can do. This is the control thing. It's owned by the class and the layout is chosen by the teacher. So this is the group. This is the single student. The goals are set by the teacher. Here the student should be able, after a while, to choose his or her own goals. The content is chosen by the teacher, the feedback is given by the teacher, and in Mahara that's very easy with the feedback. Feedback is a great thing to improve learning and to help learners to advance. So what I like especially in Mahara is that at any place, at any point in a page, in a published page, everyone who has access to this page can give feedback. So it's not only the teacher. We're going to talk about this later when we have an example. In Moodle, it's the deadline set by the teacher, and in Mahara, it's the student alone who decides on publishing, unless the teacher says, well, I want to have this page, I want to see this page, to hand it in the page at a certain deadline. This is possible too. So it's a perfect combination. So here's a screenshot of a Moodle course room. All my Moodle course rooms, all my classes start in the first part with a picture of the class so that they can identify themselves with the class, that they feel at home, that they know that's our course room. And you find the same, for example, in the course here in Moodle, you see that there are no more assignments here. The assignments I put here, that's our topic, and here I told them what I expected them to do. So that was a TED talk, that was a famous TED talk by Jamie Oliver, which I can really recommend you if you have the topic of nutrition. That's great to start with. You really have to see this guy on stage talking about his food revolution. It's really worth it, this TED talk. So why did I do this, what I'm doing here? Just switch Mahara, to switch Moodle and Mahara. I always found it very unsatisfying when I had created an assignment and the students, they handed in their assignment. So who in the end could see the assignment, the result, what the student had uploaded? Only the teacher and the student. But for the rest of the group of the class, this was not visible. So there are ways to make things visible in the database, in the glossary. I know that you can do this. But if I want to have a look at one single student and see what has Max, for example, achieved so far in our English lessons, well, I would have to go to so many places in Moodle to see what Max has handed in, where he has done contributions and all that. But I don't get the whole image. And I want to have the whole image, so I have come up with the idea that I said, okay, we are not going to hand in your assignments in Moodle. Well, there's a possibility to do this too, but at the same time, you put them into Mahara. And in Mahara, you can arrange and showcase according to your likes and your ideas and your creativity. So in Mahara, then over the year, I could see this students page growing and growing and growing with the course in Moodle. So this was a nice thing. So I just had to switch to Max, and I could see, well, Max has come so far now with his page in Mahara. And it's nice because it's visible now for all the other students as well. So now we come, okay. Then this is a screenshot of Mahara. And I put in this screenshot just to remind you that you cannot expect something from your students that you yourself are not doing. I think for all of us here in the room, this is quite evident, but you always have to tell this to teachers. You cannot expect students doing a Mahara e-portfolio if you as a teacher do not do that as well. So The easiest thing to do that is to learn with the students, to accompany their Mahara project with an own project page, and that's what I did. And I put in the picture I used in the Moodle course room. I put that into my Mahara project page, where I accompanied this project in Mahara. So then there is a wonderful feature in Mahara. It was not there from the beginning. And we have the group functions. So what you can do is, for example, you have a group of students who should do a project, who work on a project. You can either give them a Moodle course for themselves to be tutors, to do that in a Moodle course, which is possible, but you can also give them Mahara, the possibility to create a group. So together, these people, they can create pages and they can collect files. They have their own space then within the group where they can work together, where you can communicate without connecting to others at the same time. And once they have finished their product, then they can decide of opening it to other groups or other students or whatsoever. This is a great feature. So this is in between, I see this in between the Moodle course room and the individual e-portfolio of one single student, the group function. Any questions here? If you have questions, just raise your hand or shout out in the chat. I will see that. I will stop talking immediately. So this is a group function, and here you can see, I just have to scroll down a little bit. Okay. Here you can see a student page. We have called this thing Learning Diary English. So where a single student puts, it's in principle, it's like they put in all their homework. So in former times they had all these folders, their paper thing, where they put in their stuff, and now they have this in Mahara. That's, I think, the easiest thing to introduce Mahara in a class, to have them put their stuff digital instead of just writing it down or writing it in Word and then storing it in the school storage system or whatsoever. So this student here has decided to put in the blog profile information about himself. He has incorporated video. Then here you can see that he has, this was one task they had to do. And I will go with you directly to the student page later. I'll just go through my presentation quickly. So we're going to have hands-on. This ePortfolio spiral shows you how you can proceed if you plan to work with Mahara and with ePortfolio. That's quite evident. You have to define your goals and your context, which can be very, very different. It can be a reflection tool, but it can also be a tool for showcasing learning or for a report on a practical training or whatsoever. So depending on the goals and the context, your ePortfolio will be very different. The next thing is that students should start collecting, sorting and combining artifacts with their goal. This per se is already a very difficult task for some students, because, no problem, Maria, this is a difficult task already for the students because they have to think, is this picture, is this video, is this text appropriate? Does this match my goal and the context? So at the beginning what happens is they would just find something and throw in all kind of stuff they find, and then not doing anything with it. They can still remove it, but they should learn to think about which artifact is really relevant for the goal I want to achieve here in my ePortfolio. And this leads us to the reflecting and controlling learning process, and that's where the teacher comes in. So the teacher really needs to help and to scaffold this process of the student putting together stuff to create something. And this can be done by continuous feedback by peers or by teachers, or even by other teachers who are involved in a project. The next step is to present and to share, to present something, which means that you open your created page to someone. and you share your artifacts. Sorry, I have to look for some cups. No. Okay, I will try, maybe. It's going away, hopefully. And the last process is the assessment. Teachers often ask me, well, we need to assess what students do. It's not a problem, we can do this, but not in the old way, by giving marks and looking for mistakes. The spirit of an e-portfolio assessment is different. Assessment should help the students to improve. For example, in feedback, you should look for the positive things for what the student has done well, and only criticize later then in the second step and help him and say, okay, you've done this quite good, but I think you should improve on your grammar, you should use a spell checker or whatsoever. And in the end, for example, my students, and many other presenters still be the same, that the students want to get graded. They want marks. So what I did with my students, I set up a table, and in this table we put in a rubric, and we put in all things that they thought and I thought were important for having a good e-portfolio, and we did that together. And in the end, we never had problems with grading. They were all happy with that, and I think that's something you should do together with your students. Involve them in this process, and then you can use it even as a tool for oral exams. So these are the easy steps. Goal defined, purpose, technology should be working. Then you can start creating journals and so on. I will talk about this when we go directly to Mahara. These are student pages we'll have a look at. These are the main things you can do: collect, reflect, choose, connect, and share. Connect means with other students. We will have to have a look at this too. The use of e-portfolios I've already talked about. It can be university, it can be job, work related. It can support the learning process, for example, of teacher training. There are fantastic examples by Thomas Strasser from Jena University. All these guys are from Klaus Himsel, who's also in Austria. And Klaus Himsel has done his MA, his master, with Mahara and doing it in Mahara. This is very interesting too, for presenting work results, for lifelong learning, achievements, and reflection. I'll skip this because we talked about this already. Now the elements in Mahara. You have the social network where you can find friends, where you can give messages. You have your personal profile, which can be very individual. You have a storage space for files. Everything digital can go in there. You have the possibilities to write blogs, to have plans and to take notes and to store all that. What you can do in Moodle, we can now do also in Mahara. I will talk about this also in Mahara because that's interesting what you can do here. You can create pages, and pages, these are the things that I call these tables, and all the other thing I call the bridge. This you can really show to people. And from many pages you can even make a collection, which you can publish, and you have the group features. This is more interesting in a live surrounding. This is a screenshot of the social networking. I'll skip that because we are going to do screen sharing in a minute. This is a profile. Here you can see the file area. We'll have a look at this in real Mahara too. You have the embeddable web 2.0 objects. If the admin creates the iframes or allows the iframe sources, which is also very easy. I can show you that. And I like to stay a minute with the fridge. As most of you might have noticed, I like cooking. So if I like cooking, I need a fridge. And all stuff you put into Mahara is the so-called content. Content can be profile pictures, your files, your blogs. You know what WordPress and Blogger is, and this is a part of Mahara. You also have blogs in Moodle, and blogs are only a part of Mahara. They are just content. They are not yet the result. This is important to remember, and that is one of the main problems. People have to sort that out. So a blog is just another content in the fridge, another thing. Your biography, your plans, and your notes, all this is in the fridge, in your personal storage space. The fridge is real, but only for the one who owns it, Marielle. But the fridge content is invisible for all the other users. So as long as it is in your fridge and not on your table, people cannot profit from the content of your fridge. So why does this not continue? Okay, so only, and this is a very important step here, you take out stuff from your fridge, you put it, you start cooking, and then you put it on the table and you serve your guests. So if you want to do this, you have to set up a table, which is a page in Mahara. You have to invite people, which means in Mahara that you have to share it with other people. That's my guess. And then you have to serve the food. So all the ingredients you have prepared, you are going to share now on this nice table. And here are your menus. These are pages, or as I would say, these are tables you can share, you can possibly share with your guests. Yes, Carrie-Anne, it has proven really good, this concept, because everybody likes eating and fridge and guests and table and cooking. Everyone understands that. And you will understand that when we go to the real Mahara now, the difference between content and portfolio. So this is part of the outcome of my fridge and my cooking, which is now being served to my guests, and I would like to invite you to take part in this. This is tuna mousse. This is the starter. I could offer that for the Mahara iMoot menu. So then we have the groups. I will have a closer look at this later. I'll skip that. Have a look at this later. I told you I left in all the screen shots because I did not trust the desktop sharing. This is a tool where I curate links and useful pages for Mahara and ePortfolio. Most of you who have visited my course room will have already seen that. You will find all the links, you will find the videos. Christina Höppner, she's great. Christina, I think you know Christina Höppner, she's in Wellington in the headquarters of Mahara, and since she's been with Mahara, it's really incredible. It has become a community, and she's doing so much to support this community, and she's such a helpful and friendly person. So whenever you have a problem, she will help you out. It's really great. Make use of mahara.org and the forums. There are forums for all kinds of things, and these people are really as helpful as the Moodler. So it's the same kind of a community spirit, you know, from Moodle that you will also find in Mahara. So this is my scoop-it on Mahara, and now I would like to share some examples with you, and then we'll have a look at how Mahara is structured. So I've already used up 1 hour, so I think we have to speed up a little bit. Would you like to see student examples, or would you rather like to see examples from in teacher training? So either. Okay, then I will, maybe I talked about Career Portfolio Manitoba. I'm going to share that with you because this is really great. I open that. Now I will start with my students because this is already open. Sorry for that, because we talked about the concept of the practical training. You see? I have to share that with you. Desktop sharing. Let's share the whole screen. And this should come up for you. Okay. Okay. Okay, it's building up now. So, and well, the big topic in this, just move that a little bit around. The big topic in this iMoot has been badges, and everyone wants to show off the badges. So I have incorporated, to show you what you can do in Mahara, I have incorporated my badges here. It takes a little bit to build up. Just be patient. Okay, so you see here I have put in my badges. I can decide on the size of this block. Yeah, you were wondering about the badges. Yeah, so I was just trying to do that, and Christina helped me creating the HTML code because there was not yet an embed code for Backpack, but with help of Christina, I managed to do that. So let's have a look at the student. Just open it from here. Yes. I told you that the students had to do a practical training during their school time, where they had to go to a place they had to find themselves, and they had to write a report. So this was the place for Mahara to come in, and they had a reason to start with Mahara because they were fed up by writing reports in Word, so they wanted to do this in Mahara. So I'll show you two outcomes now. One outcome of a student called Sunny. Sunny is a student from Bangkok, so his German and English was not very good. It takes some time to load screenshots. It's really desktop sharing is really slow. Maybe I should switch off my video. Wait, let me just switch off my video. Okay, so that might help. No point of seeing me. Doesn't build up with you. Should we build up? Can you see the? Maybe you can unmute. Let me just unmute you. Jim is muted.
Yeah, I can see the page.
Okay, you can see the page. Because it takes very, very long. I tried to control that on my second notepad here, but I just had to refresh because it was frozen too. Okay, now I got myself muted. I'll close that thing. I will have to rely on the comments of you if someone doesn't work. So I just trust you are seeing the same as I do. I will go back to Sunny, and here you can see the outcome of his report on the practical training. The first place is here. These are text fields. You can see it in the blue with the blue color of the text fields. He has chosen a two-column layout, and you can see here already comes in reflection, but the teacher has given these, this was given already by the teacher, so they had to fill that in. And then here you can see Praktikumsbericht. That's where the blog starts. And you can see that the titles of the blog entries, each single blog entry has a title, and this is green. And the nice thing in Mahara is you can get it as an RSS feed, so you can register to this RSS feed, and you can put it in even in a different view. So as in WordPress and in Blogger, what you have is you have always the latest entry on top. So this is his last entry here, his 20th day. And if I want to go to his first entry, I have to scroll down completely. Just go slowly so you can see what he has put in the site. Here he has put in a slideshow. You could do this in Mahara by just integrating into a blog file, a folder where you have your pictures. This is very easy. And this student hasn't written very much for one single day. It's just the main things. What this student has done, he has chosen to go to Jimdo, so outside Mahara, and place screenshots. He has, for every single day, he has created screenshots and has done that in a SlideShare outside. I'll just try to go there. This is the picture gallery. This should connect to Jimdo. Okay. I hope you can see this. If you can't see anything, or if it's coming too slow, please give me a warning, because I can't watch what's going on in the chat now. So, for example, for every single day, as you can see here, he has created a slideshow, and quite interesting is the day when he went, exactly when he went to a printing company, the digital printing company, and he has taken a lot of pictures, and he also commented that. So this is one possibility to do a report on a practical training. A second possibility is just look for I'm not logged in. Okay, I'll just look for this user. I look for Max. Oh, that's the wrong Mahara, sorry. Just have to log in. Sorry for that, because I'm in 5 Mahara systems, so it's a bit weird. So, okay. That should be logged in. Okay, now I can look for the student. Max. No, it's Etienne. Sorry for that. It's been a while. Okay, then I go to my groups. This is the group. Then I go to the people who are in the group. I seem to find the student. Ah, here he is. Okay. So, well, before we go to his to the page he has created for the practical training, let's just have a look at his profile view. As you can see here, here are his contacts. He has asked. You can ask the contact to someone else, but someone else can also ask for contact to you. Then you have the wall, the pin wall. And what is nice, if I write something in the wall, I can decide whether this should be private or public. If I make it public, the addressee can still decide to switch back to private or to delete it. Here I can see in his profile, here I can see the pages he has created. And here I can see the groups in which HN is in. So I'm interested in his practical training. There are two. I hope I get the correct one now. Okay, that's the second one, doesn't matter. This student also has chosen a layout with a broader column for the text and a smaller column for the pictures. So basically this is the same. But if we go, so he has written a lot more in the text fields at the beginning, but if we go to one single day, and that's what I wanted to compare to the previous student, for example, day 10, he doesn't say what he has done on day 10, so this is not interesting. Look at all the text he has written. Day 9, look at all the text he has written. So the German teacher was quite happy about that. I was not so happy because I found that really difficult to understand what he's been doing by only reading the description. Well, he has done some pictures, but I found that much nicer with the other student that he really only did the headlines or the most basic things and visualized this by creating slideshows, by pictures or by screenshots. Here in this example, I would like to show you the possibilities of giving feedback. Here you have the place where you can give feedback. There is no feedback on this single entry. I had asked the other teachers who were involved in this project to take part in the project and at least, even if they do not know anything about Mahara, to give feedback here. This was a fail, a complete fail. So we go to the bottom of this page, and here we can see that the only person who has given feedback to this student has been me, which is really a little bit sad. I want the other students to do that too. When I had them in school, I kind of forced them to do that. I used 10 minutes and I said, okay, now you have 10 minutes and I want each of you to give two really constructive feedbacks to one other student or to two other students, and you really have to train that with them, and only then it works because they're not used to do that. So that's the place. There are two places in a page. So this is really the outcome, what you see. This is the table. There are really two possibilities. You can either give feedback for the complete page, or you can give feedback to a single blog entry. Here you also have another feature. What you can do in a blog entry, you can add files. You can add files for the participants, for the ones who you have shared with, to download a file here instead of just putting in into the text. So this is a great thing. What you can also do, you have a blog where you can put in files. Jim, is this visible for the participants, or is this going too slow, the loading of the desktop sharing? Just go back to big blue button. It's fine. Okay, you see I have to switch back to the, yeah, okay, everything is fine. So these were two examples of student pages, and you had asked me to see something that students had done or that tutors had done with their students. Is that right? What we should do is perhaps we should unmute all people here because we are so few. If we are disciplined and don't talk all at the same time, I think we can do this, and this would be much easier for me. Okay, thank you for unmuting me.
Sorry.
Okay. So I think it's easier if you just say what you want to say by talking. So what are your questions so far? Because I would like to take you now directly into the Mahara system.
You know, I tried using Mahara a while ago and I couldn't really figure it out. Is there any sites like that you can go to and just kind of play around on?
Yes, you can. You can actually get registered in Mahara.de. That's the German one, or you can go to Mahara. Well, there's an echo now. Strange. To mahara.org. What you can do is, oh, I think it doesn't work with the unmuted participants because you get an echo. Is it? No, it's okay. And on both sides, Mahara.de is the German Mahara platform, which we have set up, not upset. And you can go to Mahara.de even with students. So what you can do is you can register, and you can register your students, and you just have to ask for permission, and I'm the admin, so I will give you the permission. Oh, could you please unmute? Could you please mute the participants again, because there's too much of an echo. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. If you want to talk, just raise your hand. I can see that, and then we can unmute you. Thank you. So these are the two possibilities, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Mahara.de and take you there, and then there's a great place in Mahara.org. There is a documentation. There's a fantastic documentation thanks to Christina Höppner, and you have the documentation in different languages. I've been working with Ralf Hilbstock and some others on the German translation, and exactly, Marielle, in many languages, and the German translation is done even for 1.7, that's the latest version of Mahara, and this is really fantastic, and there is a search window, and you will get help on anything, really. But you can play around with Mahara either on mahara.org, or you can come directly to Mahara.de with a group of students to try out how this is working. So, shall we go directly to Mahara.de and have a look how it is working? This is your Mahara. Okay. You want us to go there? Marielle, do you want to? But you don't have presented status. I would suggest that we go to Mahara. I just have to find the correct one. I'll close this one. I'll close this one. Okay, I will go not to Mahara.de, but I will go to a Luxembourg Mahara because they are already on version 1.7. So desktop where the sharing should still be working. Okay, I was just checking. Okay, so first thing you get when once you are logged in is the dashboard. In the dashboard, it is you can customize the dashboard like any other page can be customized. Just to say, here I haven't customized it. I left it as it was. So what you get is you get the latest pages that you have access to. So you see these are not only my pages, but I have access to other people's pages as well. Then you have the forums and the inboxes with all the messages. And you also get, for example, a message if you have new access to a page. Then I have topics that I'm following in forums. Then here are my own pages. I have created several pages here in this Mahara. This is a very new install. That's why there isn't so much inside there. And I would like to take you around here because I have set the language to English, so it's easier for you to follow. So this is really the latest version of Mahara, and as you can see here, I have admin rights. This is the administration part. So let's start with the content, which in my presentation I called the fridge. And now you can see why I call this the fridge, because you have the profile pictures, the file section, the journal, which I still call blog because it was called blogs in the older versions, and now it's a journal. That's what I meant with WordPress and Blogger. Then you can have a resume, you can have plans and notes. Let's just have a closer look at the profile, what you can do in the profile. You can give a description here. If you have a single sign-on from a Moodle install, then your profile will be then your Moodle profile settings will be taken here in Mahara. But you can create a different profile page if you want for a different purpose. This is always possible. So this is the profile. In the profile, you can add your contact information. You can add various email addresses. You have the opportunity to add your website. So this is very similar. This is very similar to the profile setting in Moodle. So I don't have to be too long here. The ICQ and so on. And general, what you are. So this means I'm a teacher. I'm a retired teacher, and I'm in education. What else have we got in content? The nice thing in Mahara is you can have as many profile pictures as you want. So for each season I have a different profile picture. And for example, if you want to create a page for applying for a job, then you can choose the appropriate picture. Then you have the files section. I don't need to explain this. What I want to explain is this part here. This is very difficult, but this is very important. It has to be activated by the admin, which means that the one who uploads a file here has to certify that he has the permission to reproduce and distribute this file. Maybe I should make that a little bit. So I think now it's easier for you to see. And if you do not check this this checkbox, then it's impossible to upload a file. So the student has to agree here that he, or to say here that he has the rights. Then here you have the folders. You can have subfolders. You can see, for example, here I have a subfolder Luxembourg. So if I want to do a slideshow in a blog, I just grab this folder and say, okay, I want to do a slideshow with this. So these are the files. You can also see that you have a quota. I have a quota of 50 MB. This is a standard quota. And I think it's quite enough if you tell your students to upload their videos into their YouTube account and just link them into their portfolio. The same with Flickr and other stuff. So if they keep their stuff in the cloud and just connected with their Mahara here, then 50 MB is quite sufficient according to my experience. And now we come to the journal, which I still use to call blog. And here you can see that I have set up one blog here, which is called Workshop ePortfolio. And it has various entries. So what I can do is I can write a new entry. Here you can see that I have written an entry which I have not yet published. It's a draft, it's not yet finished. So if I click publish, then it will be integrated into this journal. I can edit the title, I can edit everything at any specific moment, so there is nothing which is really fixed. It's very flexible. If I have already published in a journal one of these entries, and I would like to use this journal in a specific page to send to an employer, and I decide, well, this is not really appropriate, I don't want to have that in this journal, then I just click on publish and it's not displayed. So this is also very flexible. And that's why I always say it's very important to remember that the journal resides in the fridge. It's in the fridge. The journal itself is not visible. You can have as many journals as you want. Only if you take your journal and put it into a portfolio. So I leave out the rest. You can explore that by yourself. I would like to take you directly now to the portfolio. You have pages. From the pages you can have collections, and you can see what is shared by you and what is shared with me, and you have the export thing. So let's go to my pages. As I told you, I have written various pages here. Let me just go to this one. This is something I have done for the grammar school in Luxembourg. I was 2 weeks ago. They wanted to start with Mahara. And here you can already see that this is a collection. This is part of a collection. Here is a slide share, another page. Here are videos I have put together for Mahara. And this is where I am now. This is the page I'm here. Here you have the button where you can edit this page. That's what we're going to do. And just show you what I've done. Here I have integrated a Padlet. What you will also find a Padlet in the course room, in my course room for the iMoot. Here you can see with because it's green, that's a blog and that's a journal entry, and you could comment. If I would share this with you, you could comment at this specific journal entry. Here I have integrated video, the video I talked about earlier by Ken Robinson. Here I have integrated a slideshow, impressions from Luxembourg. I can go through the slideshow. So this is quite nice. I have incorporated, I think most of you know what a wiki is. Students love that, but adults too. I have integrated a wiki and so on. I also have my recent forum posts, so all this can be integrated. Here you can see an integrated RSS feed from my Scoopit. And here I have integrated an RSS feed from interesting, Teach Thought, exactly. Yeah. Here I have a link to the Mahara user manual. This is about me. I have also integrated, because I published this on SlideShare, I have integrated the SlideShare thing. And you can also integrate Prezi. So you can see it's really great because you can integrate all your stuff you keep outside. So now let's quickly go to the edit function. I'll just switch back to the room to see your comments. Any questions here? Does it work okay for you with the desktop sharing? Can you just raise your hand if it's working? Working fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I go back to Mahara and to the Mahara page. That's the result, that's the table, the final table. And we're going to see what we can do here. Oops. Okay, so this is now the layout, the editing layout. And what I can do is I can edit the title and the description, I can edit the layout. You're going to find out yourself by playing around, I trust. So I'm going to show that to you, and I'm going to edit the content now. Content, you have files, images, and video. You can just drag one of these icons, and then you can say, okay, I would like to have this or this. So this is very easy, it's self-explaining. This page, just a second. Okay, this is for a single file. This is for a single file, and you can see now here you have files to download. What I can do is I can delete that. It's also easy to delete a whole column, so be careful. Here you have the second possibility. You can, instead of having to drag just one file, you can drag a complete folder. Here you have the image gallery, what you saw, what I showed you before with the pictures from Luxembourg. Just drag that in image gallery, and then you're being asked which images you want to display here. You have the HTML function for those who can write HTML code to drag in. Here you have the possibility to set a single image from your files area. So if you have images uploaded, you can take the image and drag it in here. If you have uploaded videos or podcasts into your Mahara file order, into your Mahara files, then you can grab them here and display them on the page. Then you have the journals. You see, the journals reside in the fridge. Always remember that. There are content. So you can decide to display an entire journal which means that the entire journal will be displayed with all the journal entries. You can display one journal entry, so only. You will have to choose that. Or you can display the most recent, or display journal entries with a particular tag, because which is nice, you can tag the journal entries. For example, iMoot 2013, so all the entries with this tag will be displayed. Then, general, you have the most used would be the text box. You just drag that in and then write. Then you can take the forum posts. You have plans. If you have filled in the plans, you can drag them in here too. If you have a collection of pages, you can get that in, and you can create Creative Commons. I will go to the external content because the time is over. As I can see, here is the RSS feed block you can drag in. What is interesting is the external content. I will just show you that, what happened here. So here you have all the items, all the Web 2.0 elements you can use. So if you use embed code or the URL of these items, then it will be displayed. If it is not displayed, you will have to ask the admin, and the admin can do that for you. It is in, let me just show this for the people who are admins. Administration. It is other extensions. Allowed iframe sources. And you see, these are the iframe sources. A number of them are already in the core install. If you want to add one, just write it in here, display name, and then it will appear, and then you can use this Web 2.0 element as well. I will switch back now and stop sharing, so now I can see the chat window. As always, I have not enough time to show you everything I would like to, but I would really invite you, register yourself either at mahara.org. If you just want to test it for yourself, that's fine for you, or if you want to come with students, you might go to mahara.de. As long as you don't come along with the whole school, you can do that. And thanks, Carrie. And well, if you want to stay in contact with me, I would be happy about that. I have set up a forum in the Moodle course in the iMoot, so there are more things to explore, and all the links you find in my presentation, you will also find in the course room. So I just have 4 minutes left. Really, I'm so sorry, because the next presentation starts at, let me see, 18:30. Oh, we have the unconference. We have the iMoot lounge. That's great. We can have a beer there, or a wine.
Thank you very much, Sigi. You can definitely stay in the room or go to the lounge. And thank you so much for your presentation and for your time. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure having you with me, and please keep in contact. If you need help, just ask me. I will be glad to help you. I just switched on the video to say goodbye. So goodbye. Maybe see you now in the iMoot lounge.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Bye then.
Bye bye. Bye everyone.
You are currently the only person in this conference.